So we had this kind of a circuit here. All distances same, both the capacitor and t equal to 0, you're closing this switch. And this current is what we are calling the current V or the current Z, whatever, from the point A to B. Okay. So here, so if you're finding the instant when the current is becoming, that means you do have to find the current as a function of time. Some kind of equivalent circuit has to be made. We can start by doing this. So to understand the initial and steady state behavior.
Okay, sir.
So what is happening? Both the capacitors are acting like short circuits. So at t equal to 0, the current that will be flowing will be this. And that I not equal to divided by R only. Whereas at steady state, you can see that the current that will be flowing, the capacitors will be acting like short circuit. Sorry, like open circuit. The current will be like this. Right? So this current will reduce to V divided by 3R. So each of the capacitors will have charge like this.
Okay.
So that Q will be equal to CV by 3. Because potential difference across each resistor will be V by 3. Okay. So you can understand from this now that the charge on each capacitor will be equal to capital Q into some kind of thing like this. Okay. But tau we can find out, but as of now, no, Q is equal to CV by 3. Okay. And we can also see that So current was so you can see that current going through AB, this current Z is equal to plus of I naught at t equal to 0. Okay. And then current is becoming minus of I steady at t tending to infinity. Depending on the row.
Okay, sir.
So at some point of time, it is switching direction. You can see that. But it is becoming 0 before it switches direction.
Yes, sir. हाँ
ये current देखो क्या हो रहा है initially at t equal
हाँ
to 0
पॉजिटिव से अच्छा हाँ यस सर समझा.
is going like this. So this is I naught is going like this. Okay. Whereas at steady state, the current is going the other way. Steady state, this current is going to go like this. Okay. So let's see if we can use some trick without using KVL. So now that we know these charges as function of time, now the thing is we have to find the current, the resistor also has a function of time. Okay.
Okay.
So we can first of all use that trick that time constant हम कैसे निकाल सकते हैं by using equivalent discharging circuit.
Yes, sir.
So ये मेरा चार्जिंग सर्किट है. का जो भी टाइम कांस्टेंट होगा capacitors that is going to make things complicated. Okay, let's try. So this is my so this R. This is my equivalent discharging circuit. So I can probably do this like this. Okay, so if I make so Dhruv understood this step. This is justified.
Yes, sir.
Now yes, suppose we had a state where both of these are initially charged, the same amount of charge. So how they would start discharging through this combination of resistors. So again, equivalently, we could remove this connection. So it would become like this. It would become a discharging circuit like this. Okay. Equivalent discharging circuit like this. Okay. So this would have equivalent C as C by 2 and equivalent as 2R in parallel with R. So that's 2 by 3R.
Sir, can you repeat this last step?
यहाँ से यहाँ कैसे आया ना?
हाँ.
Okay. Now see, suppose we have a situation where initially I had given these two charges like this.
Okay.
Okay. So they were running at two cells like this. So they would start discharging with some current I1 in this branch and some current I2 going through this. Now by symmetry, you would see this I2 will have to be the same.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that means you can remove this.
Okay, okay. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, so that's like an equivalent circuit trick that I'm making.
Understood, sir. Yes.
So ये सर्किट का भी टाइम कांस्टेंट कितना हो जा रहा है? टाउ इज बिकमिंग कितना हो जा रहा है? RC by 2, sorry, RC by 3.
Okay, sir.
So now my original charging circuit will have the same time constant. Okay. This circuit will have time constant equal to that same thing that I've got before below. Okay. So now let's go back to our charging circuit and try to understand the transient currents. Okay. So in my charging circuit, so suppose this current is I, okay, and this charge equal to this charge at some time t. Q, this is Q. The current going through this is I1 and the going through this is I2. Okay. The current Z according to this current I minus I1. So the current Z should become how much? Current Z should become I minus I1 plus Z should give I2. So Z should be I2 minus of I minus I1. Now let's right that I is varying in what? I is such that at t equal to 0, I naught was by R or whatever, E by R. And at t tending to infinity, it is steady state, which is 3R. So I is actually varying like this. It is changing from the initial value to the steady state value, which is 1/3 of that. So the function of time will become V by 3R plus V by 3R R minus T by tau. अंडरस्टूड ना बेटा? ये ग्राफ कैसा है ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन से?
हाँ सर.
सो मेरे को करंट I as a function of time पता है. So I as a function of time is by R. In fact, 3R we can take common. 1 plus 2 for T by tau. So that's the first thing. The other thing, I know that I1 equal to I2 is equal to dq by dt. That you can see from the circuit above. Because these two charges are symmetrical.
Yes,
So
sir.
the rate of charging of this one, I2 is the rate of charging of this, so if they're symmetrical, so they're equal to this. Okay. And q as a function of time was capital Q 1 minus e raised power minus t by tau. So that is equal to q by tau e raised power minus t by tau. So q was Cv by 3 and tau was Rc by 3, I think. Yeah. Okay. Term is becoming how much? It is becoming V by 3, V by 9R. 1 by 3. So V by R. E raised power minus t by tau. So I1 equal to I2 इतना हो जा रहा है. Correct, bro?
Yes, sir.
So now what about our this thing Z? Z was how much? Z was
I2 minus I plus I.
2I1 minus I, we can say, like that.
Yes.
That was equal to I2 minus I1 minus I1 is equal to I2. So you can see it is 2 times I1 minus I. So it is this thing 2V by R e raised power minus t by tau minus of I in above is V by 3R 1 plus so now we have to just put there of this. So it is if we take V by R common, we have times e raised power minus t by tau minus 2 by 3. So 2 minus 2 by 3 power minus t by tau. Okay. Minus 1 by 3. This will be 4 by 3. So V by 3R times e raised power minus t by tau minus 1. Something like this I'm getting. So you can see that initially the current, yeah, this is agreeing with what we saw earlier also. That initially Z will become, this term will become, so it's V by R, so it's plus I naught. And at steady state, Z will become minus V by 3R. That is minus I of steady state current. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this is becoming 0. Z is equal to 0 when 4 times e raised power minus t by tau is equal to 1, or e raised power minus t by tau is 1 by 4, or e raised power t by tau is equal to 4. So t by tau is equal to ln4. So the time is tau times ln4, and tau was Rc by simple. So is this matching any of the answers?
Sir, answer is option C.
Time constant Rc by 3, na? So now we can also change this to 2 ln2. So let's put the time constant. Let me check the question again. हाँ यही है बेटा 2 by 3 RC ln.
Yes, sir. Understood, sir.
Okay, so hope this is clear. Kritika, hope this is gone
सर तो
through.
एग्जाम में थोड़े ये इतना ही करना पड़ेगा क्या, लेंदी सा?
मतलब सी इक्विवेलेंट सर्किट बना के टाइम कांस्टेंट तो निकालना पड़ेगा ना.
हाँ
मतलब
हाँ.
cut it this much that you don't have to at least do any integration.
Yes, sir. हाँ.
इससे कम में तो नहीं हो पाएगा ना, because you can at max you can analyze without doing this time constant analysis. At max, what you can do is, okay, you can say initially current is so much in this direction, and in steady state current is so much in the opposite direction. But
Yes,
उससे
sir.
you can't do anything without analyzing for time constant.
Yes, sir. हाँ. ठीक है, sir.
I don't know, maybe you can try and take a potential drop, but even that, see, this resistor is still there, no?
हाँ, हाँ.
Of time becomes important. ये resistor अगर नहीं होता, you could get this potential drop just in terms of Q and C. Okay,
Yes, sir. हाँ.
so bit of analysis is required. This is a lengthy question. ठीक है. Anyway, so what about the other questions?
Yes, sir. In others, I had doubts.
हाँ. So next we'll pick up which one? This electromagnetic.
In a cylinder, yes, sir. हाँ.
Okay. So wait, I'll just share the screen. So Ritika, you also just go through this question and we'll start. So solid metallic cylinder rotates with angular speed omega about axis of symmetry. The cylinder is in a region having magnetic field along its axis. These options. So क्या होगा? You can think of a section of the cylinder. Like if you take a section of the cylinder cut into a disc. So you know when the disc is rotating with angular speed omega about its axis in a magnetic field which is also along its axis, what is happening? There is motion generated EMF such that you will have circular equipotential lines. Your equipotential curves will become circular lines, and your electric field induced will be pointing radially. Just like when a rod is rotating about some perpendicular axis, you have like electric field along its line, okay, along its axis. In the case of circular disc, it becomes radial electric field lines induced, and therefore your equipotential lines are circular. Okay. So this is how you have to do. Okay, so just try this out. Okay, so coming back to my screen. So this is a situation something like this. So this cylinder is rotating about its own axis like this with omega. And there are magnetic field lines in this region which are like this along its axis, suppose. Okay. So what we do is, if you consider any section of the cylinder like a disc like this, so what is happening is that this disc is in a situation where it's rotating like this, let's say, and there is magnetic field, let's say like this. If we view from that side, magnetic field is in the same direction as the axis of rotation, which are, sorry, so then omega should be in the opposite direction. It should be going into the plane, so it should be clockwise. Anyway, so this is the sense of omega. Then there will be, so at a point like this where an electron is present, it has a speed r omega like this. So V is equal to r omega. So an electron over here will experience magnetic force in which direction? If B is coming, if B is going into, so V cross B का direction क्या है? Radially outwards. So electron will experience magnetic force in the opposite direction. Okay. You could experience a balancing electrostatic force in this direction. So that means there should be, like, positive induced charge here and negative induced charge. Your rotating disk here will have lines of induced charge which are circular like this, ending with negative charge at the center. So V is equal to, so magnetic force on an electron will be EV. So it will be E into B into R omega. Okay. And electrostatic force will be E into E in magnitude. So that's how you get. So now let us look at the option. So option A is saying the electric field inside the cylinder will be proportional to perpendicular distance r from the axis of rotation if omega is not equal to EB by M. Sorry, the electric field inside. Okay. Achha, so I think what we have to do is we have to also take into account centrifugal force.
Okay.
उस वजह से कह रहा है. So this is electrostatic force plus centrifugal force. Okay. So your magnetic force is actually balanced by centrifugal force plus electrostatic force. Okay. So electric field will be non-zero only if centrifugal force is not equal to magnetic force. It can be greater than also, it can be less than also. So that's where that option is coming from. So m omega square r should not be equal to this thing. So EV into r. So omega should not be equal to, so EV by m का square. Got it, no, beta?
Okay, so that means if it is equal to this, then there will be no electric field.
Equal to हो गया तो magnetic force is getting balanced by centrifugal force.
Okay.
Okay. Equal नहीं है तो whichever is dominant, it's okay. Electric field will induce itself according to the direction opposite.
Okay, sir.
What about the other options? They're clear?
Yes, sir. I understood that.
Okay. Okay, so I'll just move on to questions.
Sir, can you discuss that conductor one once?
Which one? The one we just did, or another?
No, the in which there are two charges and a conductor.
Okay, okay. Arman, you are also online. I have received your questions, so I will be starting with yours also. Just a moment. Hmm. Yeah, Dhruv, I'm going to which one? One is geometrical optics, and the other is the conductor one. Okay, so,
Conductor one, sir.
okay, so I'm just sharing it. Just give me a moment. So, thin conducting rod is introduced between two charges. We have to talk about the total force experienced by Q1, and we have to talk about induced charge. Okay. So Arman and Kritika, just go through this question and discuss. Okay, so if we go through the
In this, I had doubts in C and D option, like the force acting.
right, whether it will be greater or less, you know?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So to understand induced charge, first of all, we just have to understand that electric field inside the rod will become zero. ये अगर positive charge है, और ये अगर negative charge है, so it is very obvious that there will be negative charge induced here and positive charge induced here, such that my electric field lines now just look like this. This side the electric field lines look like this, and on this side the electric field lines look like this. Also you can see that there will be some field lines, you know, which are eventually just going like this also, but inside this the electric field will become zero. Okay, so this is superposition of all these things now.
Yes, sir.
So if there is some total minus delta q kind of charge induced on this surface, there is some total plus delta q kind of charge induced here.
Yes, sir.
Symmetry nahi hai, but it's in the total charge is same on either side in magnitude, because net charge of this conductor has to be zero. So then option C is saying that the total magnitude of force acting on Q1 will be greater than as compared to the case without the rod. Okay, so the case without the rod would have been just Q1 and minus Q2. Okay, so this would have experienced a force of, if this distance is some x, this would have experienced a force, net force, which is just the force because of minus Q2 only. Okay, now with this, it is experiencing the force which is a superposition of what all forces. That's what we have to understand. It's experiencing a force like this, which is a superposition of the force due to the charge here. Let's say this is A, the charge at the end of the rod B, and the charge. Okay, so this part is remaining same as this. Okay, but plus force due to A plus force due to B. Okay, now we have to understand that whether this combination is adding something to this or subtracting something from this. It's adding, na beta? Because
Yes.
negative charge is closer. You know?
Yes,
So,
sir.
so you can see that this is, if you take this as your x-axis, there is a force along plus I cap. And this combination is also creating a force along plus I cap only. So the force is increasing. Okay. So the total magnitude of force acting on Q1 will be greater as compared to. And likewise on Q2 also you can analyze, you know.
Yes, sir.
So that's how it works. Okay, so this is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's complete your, since you sent 4 questions, I think, in all you have sent.
Yes, sir. The only 4.
Okay, so since you have completed 3, let me complete the 4th one also. Okay, just a second.
Sir, yeah, just one more doubt I had. It's an oral doubt only. That like in the previous question, if instead of that rod, we would have separated the media in which both the charges were present, then how would force affect on, like we will only make change in.
Dielectric media.
Yes, sir.
Then you have to consider equivalent induced charge in the dielectric at the contact point. You know?
Okay.
Like for
Like at
example,
the way, at the boundary where the surface is changing.
correct.
Okay.
Okay, now suppose you had a dielectric cylinder, you know, like instead of the metallic cylinder, you had a dielectric cylinder of K1, and both the charges were in a different medium K2.
Okay.
Okay, so at the boundary between K1 and K2, there would be some induced equivalent charge.
Yes, sir.
So like that, even if there were 3 media present, like on one side there is K1, then the slab is of K2, and on the other side there is K3. So again, you consider boundaries like that. But then it becomes very complicated. Okay, if there are 3 media present like that, it becomes pretty complicated.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so let's come to this optics question now.
Sir,
So
in this basically my doubt was like how to derive the first question, first option, because after that, if first is true, then I got the other options too.
okay. So so Arman and Kritika, you go through this. Okay, we'll discuss. So this is a spherical refracting surface separating two media of N1 and N2. Considering an object O forming a virtual image at a point I, we assume that all rays emanate from. Okay, okay. C is the center of curvature. Then N1 OS. So first of all, you have to understand here that it is not necessary for us that this is paraxial. The
Okay.
ray we have considered now OS, this incident ray OS, and the refracted ray from S onwards after that, it's not necessary that is very close to the principal axis.
Okay, sir.
That formula that we derived, that N2 by V minus N1 by U, that formula, there
Yes,
was
sir.
there was approximation for paraxial rays.
Okay.
But here we have to avoid that approximation, but we have to apply the same method, which is application of Snell's law. Okay. So So let's just proceed with the same kind of steps that we had over there. Okay, so this point is the pole, the medium. This point is the center of curvature. Okay. And we have an object somewhere here. Sorry, an object on this side. Okay. So our incident ray from the object is like this. So at the point of incidence, the normal will be this line. Center of curvature को उस point से join करके forward. This is our normal line. So I'll just now, according to the diagram, you can see that this ray is bending away from the normal. So it's going a bit like this. Let's see. So this is our refracted ray. And when you produce this refracted ray backwards, it's giving you somewhere an image eye over here. So coming back to this angle over here is your angle of incidence. And this angle over here is your angle of refraction. So what we have is that N1 sine I is equal to N2 sine R. Okay. All right. So since if you see option A में अपने को क्या verify करना है? We have to verify this statement that N2OS, sorry, N1OS minus N2SI is equal to N1OP minus N2PI. let's try and take these terms on one side. OS minus OP is equal to N2 into SI minus PI. Now let's try to make sense what this is saying in the diagram. So if we just drop a perpendicular here, this was to be some so also here this angle is R. So are we trying to use sine rule or something over here?
Sir, I had applied sine rule.
If you use sine rule, you take this angle as beta or something. So this angle is pi minus beta. So you'll have sine I upon, So if you now consider triangle OCS, in this diagram you consider triangle OCS. So OCS में क्या हो जाएगा, sin I upon this OC should be equal to sin beta upon OS, right?
Yes, sir.
And similarly, you consider triangle ICS, this larger triangle here. So sin R upon IC should be equal to sin beta upon IS, okay, or SI, whatever. This is SI. So further we can write sin I as sin beta into OC upon OS. Okay, and OS can be written as OS को तो रहने दो because OS is there here. OC नहीं है यहाँ पे, तो OC को we have to write in terms of something else. Okay, so we have to write this as sin beta. OC can be written as OP minus CP. Okay, so this is my sin I. And similarly, sin R will become sin beta into IC. Now IC again I can write as IP minus CP. Okay, this thing upon IS, or we'll write that as SI. Okay, so these two are clear.
Yes, sir.
So I think now if you subtract these two, you'll get some relation. No?
Okay, sir.
So sin I minus sin R, ये वाले terms cancel हो जाएंगे, है ना? CP वाले terms cancel हो जाएंगे. So I'll just have terms involving OS is there over there, yes. OP is there, SI is there, and IP or PI is there. Okay, so I'll just get these things. So I'll get sin beta into upon OP upon OS minus PI upon SI. Something like this I'll get.
Yes, sir. समझा.
So now I have to also use this relation that N1 sin I is equal to N2 sin R. And I have to use this relation. And I have to somehow eliminate sin beta. So how we are going to eliminate? Huh?
In this, we won't consider I and R to be small, right?
That's what I'm thinking, because there's no indication given for that. But if we do consider I and R to be small, then we can do some small angle approximation only. But वो small angle approximation करने से तो we'll directly get that formula actually.
Okay.
It will not come in terms of. See, these terms are all the hypotenuses, no? This PI, this OS and IS.
Sir, I searched this equation right now. It's showing that it is some Fermat's principle.
So it's coming from Fermat's principle. हाँ वो minimum distance मतलब minimum time वाला होता है Fermat's principle actually.
Like, is it something we have to learn?
No. Fermat's principle is not in your syllabus. It is in graduate level physics actually. It is the alternate way of understanding the path of light in geometrical optics. It says that light takes a path such that it takes minimum time to travel.
Okay.
So you can, for example, prove Snell's law using that. But here, we have to prove this actually using this geometrical method only, not using Fermat's principle.
Okay.
Where from this?
Yes, sir. I'll try it once.
Where is this question from? That's it.
Sir, this was in our online test.
Okay. So it must be some combination of these only. But only thing is now sine beta, we have to.
Because what I did, I consider the first option to be correct, then I got the other options.
That is fine. But first option आने के लिए so in this now we substitute sin I and sin R in terms of it should come then. In Snell's law, n1 sin I is equal to n2 sin R. If you substitute I and sin R like this, your sin beta term will cancel. So you get n1 into this p minus p upon OS is equal to n2 into minus CP upon SI. Now we have to see how to manipulate this term. You're having some kind of mathematical equation like this where x is equal to Cp by OS. Now Cp by OS is actually 1. You can see now in the diagram written. Because Cp is the radius of curvature, no? And OS is also the radius of curvature. So that is 1. So I think component to dividend will now work. Yeah? So done, no?
Okay, sir.
ये आ जाएगा भी इससे?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that is the additional thing here, that actually Cp is the same thing as no. OS is not R. Not unless it's a small angle. So this is not there. Okay, so Dhruv will have to try and manipulate this term. And get it like that.
I'll continue this. If I get the answer, I'll confirm.
Okay. ठीक है. Okay, so next, Arman, I'm coming to some of your questions.
Sir, can I leave?
Yeah, Dhruv, you can read. Fine.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so Arman, starting with this question. Arman, can you turn your mic on, please? Just a moment. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is which one you're asking, 25.15 or?
Yes, sir. 15.
Okay. So two coherent light sources of lambda are separated by 3 lambda. Total number of minima formed on the line EB which runs from minus to plus infinity. ये तो सिंपल है बेटा. देखो क्या होगा, EB का जो मिड पॉइंट है वहां पे पाथ डिफरेंस कितना होगा, 0 होगा.
0.
एंड प्लस इन्फिनिटी या माइनस इन्फिनिटी पे पाथ डिफरेंस कितना है, 3 लैम्डा. Because if you take any point on the screen, what is the path difference? It is the distance from P minus the distance from Q.
Yes.
So when you go, for example, to infinity on the side of B, what is happening?
3 lambda हो जाएगा.
The lines are parallel to PQ. So P is closer by 3 lambda compared to Q. So path difference 3 lambda हो जा रहा है. So and नीचे also the path difference is becoming 3 lambda but opposite. Then Q is closer and P is further.
Yes.
Okay. So going from the midpoint to plus infinity, how many positions you will get? Odd multiple of lambda by 2. You'll get lambda by 2, then 1.5 lambda and 2.5 lambda. 3 by 2.
Yes.
So 3 minima on top and 3 minima below.
Okay.
So 6 minima you will get in total. You can understand better.
Yes.
Next, this question, right? Which one in this?
So 18th and 19th.
18 and 19. Okay. So medium of refractive index N1 monochromatic light lambda is incident normally on a thin film of unknown thickness. L is definitely greater than 0.1 lambda. Light transmitted by the film travels into the medium with refractive index N3. The value of minimum thickness when maximum light is transmitted. N1 is less than N2 is less than N3. So ये normal incidence हो रहा है यहाँ पे, ठीक है? So there is no refraction as such happening, but there is a combination of transmission and reflection. ठीक है? So understood what's happening here, na? You have two media of N1 and N3, but they are separated by a thin film of refractive index N2. Right, Arman?
Yes.
तो अभी N1 से N3 जो ट्रांसमिशन हो रहा है, एक केस में डायरेक्टली हो रहा है,
हाँ.
और दूसरे केस में क्या हो रहा है? There is transmission, then reflection, then again reflection, and finally transmission.
Yes.
Okay, so what is the optical path difference? It will be twice the thickness into N2
How?
The light that is undergoing double reflection and then transmitting into N3, वो कितना extra path length travel कर रहा है? Twice the thickness, 2L.
हाँ.
ठीक है. और किस medium में? N2 में.
How? N2.
तो optical path difference कितना हो गया? 2L into N2. Right?
Yes.
Now you want minimum thickness so that maximum light is transmitted. So that 2L into N2 should become equal to मतलब minimum value of this so that you are getting constructive. So it should be equal to lambda.
Yes.
But in which medium? Lambda in N3.
N1.
Because the transmission is happening in N3, no?
अच्छा, okay, N3. हाँ.
Understood. So if the medium, okay, is lambda, lambda you to assume is in this thing, in vacuum, matlab absolute, free space.
Okay.
So in the third medium, where the transmission is happening, lambda's value is how much? It is lambda prime, which is lambda upon N3.
Yes.
Okay. So twice of L into N2 has to be equal to lambda prime, which is lambda upon N3. Okay, got it, beta?
Yes.
Okay, so that is how you will do the calculation. Then next is 25.19, right?
Yes.
Okay. So here what is happening? Source of light, parallel beam is coming like this, 680 nanometer. Glass plate's length is given. Total number of bright fringes. हाँ, तो वापस देखो क्या हो रहा है. जो राइट साइड का एंड है जहाँ पे वो सिलेंडर है, ठीक है, वहां पे पाथ डिफरेंस कितना होगा फॉर लाइट विच इज कमिंग आउट. ठीक है. So that diameter is given to us. And we probably have to neglect the thickness of the plates. Okay, Arman? So Arman, you are following beta?
Yes, sir.
So जो राइट साइड वाला एंड है ना जहाँ पे वो सिलेंडर प्रेजेंट है, वहां पे what is the distance between the two glass plates? It is equal to the diameter.
Yes.
So it is 0.034 millimeters.
Yes.
ठीक है. और that is the same thing as 34 micrometers. So वहां पे optical part difference कितना होगा between light which is reflected at the first plate, मतलब that is the top plate, or light which is transmitted through the top plate then reflected at the plate below and then again transmitted through the top plate. The optical part difference is twice that thickness.
Yes.
So it is 68 microns.
Yes.
Okay. So 68 microns is how much in terms of lambda? Lambda is 680 into 10 raised by 3 microns.
Yes.
ठीक है. So order of magnitude मिल गया.
हाँ.
है ना? And at the other end, at the left end, the path difference is tending to 0.
Yes.
The number of bright fringes इसको मिल गया. ठीक है, understood ना बेटा?
Yes.
Okay. Let me come to the next question. This one?
Yes,
This-
sir. The fifth one. Sixth one.
Sixth one. Okay. In YDSE, capital D, small d, and lambda are given to us. The distance of 100th maxima from the central maxima is how much?
In this, we can't do it that 100 into beta.
नहीं, because क्या हो रहा है ना बेटा कि यहाँ पे जो हम fringe width निकालते हैं ना,
हाँ.
that is for small order of magnitude of fringe. Why? Because there is small angle approximation.
Okay.
Remember that point ना, d sin theta को हम वैसे approximate कर रहे हैं.
हाँ.
d tan theta and all that, है ना? So moreover, you have to actually check from the geometry. So 100 मैक्सिमा पे पाथ डिफरेंस कितना हो जाएगा? 5000 नैनोमीटर into 100. Okay.
Yes.
The only thing is just check the data of the question. 5000 nanometer is not in visible light. ठीक है? I think it should be 500 nanometer. 5000 nanometer will be in which range? It will be in even beyond ultraviolet. So there could be some problem with the data. But anyway, चलो अगर 5000 nanometer लेते हैं, so it is how much? It is 5 micrometers. So into 100. So that will become 500 micrometers. No? Or it will become 0.5 millimeters.
Yes.
So 0.5 millimeters का path difference चाहिए, and the distance small d is 1 millimeters.
Yes.
So now you have to solve this geometrically.
And that is equal to 100 lambda वैसे करके.
हाँ मतलब see 100 maxima will be at the point where path difference is 100 lambda. ठीक है, बट वो पॉइंट का स्क्रीन पे जो डिस्टेंस होगा वो हम कैसे निकालेंगे अभी? we'll have to calculate geometrically, है ना? So if you take the slits S1 and S2 and the point on the screen is P, then S2P minus S1P has to be 100 lambda.
Yes.
You
तो d
understand?
sin theta equal to 100 lambda आ जाएगा.
नहीं, तो that is the thing. Can we do the approximation of d sin theta? Yeah, because capital D is still 1 meter, so we can do that probably. So equate d sin theta as 100 lambda. So I think you will get your sin theta as half.
Yes.
तो 30 degree point पे हो रहा है.
हाँ. तो सर वो बीटा वाला कब यूज कर सकते हैं कि 100 बीटा हो जाएगा?
When your theta is small, so you're
Okay.
solving for that d sin theta coming as this much. Now suppose our sin theta had come as 10 raised power minus 2 or something like that. Then okay, we can use the fringe width concept. But here it is coming as 0.5, no? So we can't use the fringe width concept. ठीक है ना बेटा?
Yes.
Okay. Then next is this one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have two plane mirrors kept parallel to each other. There is a point O on the screen perpendicular just in front of S. Okay. हाँ तो देखो यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? The source S is creating two images in the mirrors.
Yes.
So those images are where? One is above M1 at a distance d by 2 above.
Yes.
And the other is below M2 at a distance d below. ठीक है? So there is a point O on the screen. What should be the wavelength coming out so that maxima is formed at O due to the interference of reflected light from both the mirrors? Consider only first reflection. So first of all, we are not considering light coming directly from the source. ठीक है? So जो images है उनको I1 and I2 ले लो suppose.
हाँ.
ठीक है, तो I1 कहाँ है? वो S से D डिस्टेंस ऊपर पे है, और I2 कहाँ पे? S से 2D डिस्टेंस ऊपर. ठीक है? So now the light coming from I1 and I2 should do constructive interference at the point O.
Yes.
You understand? So I1 to O path length कितना हो जाएगा? It will be root of capital D square plus small d square.
Yes.
And I2 से जो होगा similar kind of hypotenuse, but it will be square root of capital D square plus 4 times small d.
Yes.
Yeah. So इनके बीच जो difference है, that should be equal to n lambda.
हाँ.
So now they are asking for what? What should be the wavelength of light coming from the source? Okay. So that a maxima is formed. So actually there's a range of wavelength because you can take it as n lambda, no? So they should have asked either minimum wavelength or something like that. Anyway, so ये दोनों को subtract करो, and when you are subtracting, use small d is very small compared to capital D. So use binomial approximation. ठीक है, understanding Arman?
Yes.
So square root of capital D square plus 4 times small d square minus square root of capital D square plus small d square. This quantity should be equal to n lambda. Now in solving the left hand side, you will use binomial approximation, assuming that small d is small compared to capital D.
So small d is small compared to capital D.
हाँ. So for example, your term na square root of capital D square plus 4d square.
हाँ.
इसमें capital D को बाहर ले लो.
हाँ.
So you have 1 plus 4 times small d by capital D to the power half.
हाँ.
ठीक है ना? Understood that type of small angle approximation. I mean,
Okay.
binomial approximation what we use. ठीक है? So then you will get lambda in terms of small d square by capital D and n, where n is the order of magnitude of the fringe.
Yes.
So the question should have asked such that you can take the value of n as 1.
ठीक है.
ठीक है, so this is clear, beta. This is done.
Yes.
Next is which one? 25.4.
Yes.
So this also seems like same thing. So you're doing optics this week.
Yes.
So arrange waves with identical wavelength are initially in phase. Okay, so have you understood the statement, beta? This thing that number of wavelengths in L is N2 for ray 2 and N1 for ray 1.
No.
Is this clear? हाँ?
नहीं, ये नहीं समझाता ये.
हाँ, तो देखो ये क्या है ना कि जो रे 2 वो स्लैब के थ्रू जा रहा है.
हाँ.
So inside the slab, its wavelength is becoming how much? It's becoming lambda by n or lambda by mu.
Yes.
Okay. So number of wavelengths in the distance L is basically what? It is L divided by wavelength.
Yes.
So L divided by what? Mu by, I mean, L divided by lambda by mu. So that will become mu L by lambda.
हाँ.
तो mu L by lambda का वैल्यू क्या दिया हुआ है मुझे? n कैपिटल N2 दिया हुआ है. Got it ना?
Yes.
Whereas L by lambda is how much? It is N1, capital N1 for ray 1.
Yes.
Okay. So now from this we have to talk about the order of solutions according to the intensity of light at the common point. So now if you make the ray 2 and ray 1 interfere at a common point by putting a convex lens or something. So interference में path difference से phase difference आएगा.
हाँ.
So in situation 1, if you take N1 and N2 like this, what is this thing? What is the path difference going to come? Now path difference क्या होगा? Mu minus 1 into L.
Yes.
है ना? तो अभी mu को eliminate करना है.
हाँ.
तो कैसे eliminate करेंगे? From that N1 N2 term given. Because we know that mu L by lambda is N1, sorry, N2, and L by lambda is N1. Okay. So if you see in the first case, N2 minus N1 is how much? 0.5.
Yes.
So that is destructive interference. No?
Non-destructive.
Then in the second case, N2 minus N1 is 1. So it's constructive.
Destructive.
Third case, it is 0.75. So it's neither constructive nor destructive.
Yes.
So maximum किस case में होता है? Constructive, minimum destructive, and then the other cases are in between, which you can check by that intensity formula.
डी हो जाएगा।
हाँ, तो एक केस में 0.75 है और दूसरे में भी 0.75 ही है, so 3 and 4 are equal.
हाँ
Okay, but that is less than 2 and greater than 1. So 1 is minimum, 3 and 4 are equal,
यस
and 2 is maximum. So it should be option D.
ओके
ठीक है, understand ना बेटा?
यस
The next is this one, right? Which question in this page? 25.8.
यस
Okay. You have two coherent sources vibrating in same phase. AB is an irregular wire. Lambda by D is 10 raised by minus 3. And angle BOA is given to us. How many bright spots will be seen on the wire, including the points AB? So this is a small angle, no beta, 0.12 degrees.
हाँ
है ना? तो यहाँ पे you can use the fringe width concept और angular fringe width concept use कर सकते हो. Angular fringe width क्या होता है? That d sin theta, है ना? So small d sin theta is lambda, is the angular position of the first maxima.
यस
तो यहाँ पे lambda by d is 1 by 1000. So first इसका angular position कितना हो जाएगा? Sin inverse of 1 by 1000. First maxima का.
तो वैसे ही करके मैंने निकाला तो जो n है वो मेरा π/3 आ रहा है।
नहीं, but you have to convert this from degrees to radians बेटा.
हाँ तो उसको वो एंगल हाफ हो जाएगा तो tan थीटा इक्वल टू थीटा मैंने अज्यूम कर लिया।
Wait. So nth maxima का angular position क्या आएगा? D sin theta is equal to n lambda.
हाँ d sin थीटा इक्वल टू n लैम्डा।
So sin theta is equal to n lambda by d.
sin थीटा इक्वल टू हाँ n लैम्डा बाई d।
Sin theta equal to n lambda by d कर सकते हैं.
हाँ
So n lambda by d should become what? 0.06 degrees.
यस
Okay. And then you should double that n. Because it will give you from central maxima to the point A, no? Or central maxima to the point B, the number of maximas. Now you'll have to double that.
यस
Okay. So A का जो angular position है ना with respect to the point O, वो कितना है? 0.06 degrees.
हाँ 0.06।
तो 0.06 को रेडियन में कन्वर्ट करो, है ना? So 0.06 divided by 180 into pi.
क्या था आपका आवाज ये हो गया था, रिपीट कर सकते
हाँ,
हैं क्या हुआ?
0.06 डिग्रीज को रेडियन में कन्वर्ट करो.
तो डिवाइडेड बाई पाई।
हाँ, 0.06 divided by 180 into pi.
हाँ
ठीक है. So how much that is coming? 0.06 divided by 180. So that is 1 by 3 into 10 raised power minus 3 into pi. So pi by 3 into 10 raised power minus 3.
यस
है ना?
यस
So that should be equal to n times lambda by d.
n टाइम्स लैम्डा बाई d। यस
तो n का वैल्यू कितना आया?
pi by 3.
So pi by 3 is 3.14 by 3 ना.
हाँ
So उसका greatest integer कितना है? 1 है.
हाँ अच्छा तो
First
डबल उसका
maxima
2 हो जाएगा.
थोड़ा सा नीचे होगा है ना. The first maxima will be slightly below A and slightly above B. So how many maximas we'll be seeing in total? We'll be seeing 3 because central maxima will be at the midpoint of AB है ना.
हाँ
And A और central maxima के बीच में कहीं पर there will be the first maxima, but second maxima is above A, so we are not seeing it. Understanding me बेटा?
यस
तो आपने जो n निकाला है that is correct, but that n is what the order of magnitude of the this thing ना fringe. तो उसका greatest integer निकाल के you have to find which maxima you are able to see. Okay, बेटा, it's clear.
Yes, sir. So I have a few more doubts. 3, 4 more can I send?
Yeah, send. Okay. So just send. I'll get back with that. Okay.
Yes.
I'm stopping the sharing of this screen. I'm just waiting for you to send. Yeah, man, I'm getting the messages. Okay, I'll just start. Just give me a couple of minutes, huh?
Yes.
Okay, so Arman, coming back to your doubts.
Yes.
So देखो इसमें if you use Snell's, which one you have the doubt in? 28 or
27,
27?
27, 28 both.
Okay. So see in 27, if you use Snell's law, angle of incidence क्या है? 45 है.
हाँ.
Because wavefront is making 45 degrees with the surface, so that means
नॉर्मल के साथ.
हाँ नॉर्मल से भी 45 ही बना रहा है, ठीक है. सो एंगल ऑफ रिफ्रैक्शन क्या हो जाएगा? 1/√2 इज इक्वल टू √2 इंटू साइन आर, है ना. सो 30 डिग्रीज हो जाएगा.
हाँ.
सो रिफ्रैक्टेड वेव फ्रंट कैसा होना चाहिए? इट शुड बिकम सच दैट इट बेंड्स टुवर्ड्स द नॉर्मल. 30 डिग्रीज हो जाता है ना. सो इट शुड बी which one? So you just convert this diagram into a diagram. Just a second, I'll show you. So this is your refracting surface. Okay. Now, if your incident wavefront is like this, okay, that means your incident ray is like this.
Yes.
Like this, okay. This is your incident ray. This is your angle of incidence, which is the same as this. Okay. Now your refracted ray should be like what? It's bending towards the normal. So ऐसा होना चाहिए.
Now perpendicular to this would be the front.
So perpendicular to this. So your wavefront will become like this. Oh, sorry, not this. Like, so this is your new wavefront, where this will be equal to R, which is the same thing as. Okay, so clear है ना?
हाँ.
The next this one the one out now. Okay, now similarly in 28, what is the concept you have to use? Okay. Plane rays na coming like this. So incident rays कैसा है? Parallel to principal axis 28 में.
हाँ.
अच्छा, after reflection क्या होगा? Focal point पे
फोकस से
वो
पास करेगा.
So focal point will become like a it's a real image, no? So it becomes like a point source of light.
Yes.
तो rays कैसे होंगे उससे? A जैसे होंगे, है ना?
अच्छा, ओके. हाँ, ठीक है.
Only what is happening now? The wavefronts which are to the right side of that point source, they are actually coming in. मतलब they are still spherical wavefronts, but they are not going outwards. They are coming in.
Okay.
Understood now?
Yes.
Whereas उसके left में जो है, those spherical wavefronts are moving outwards. So your beams of light are radial, so your wavefronts are spherical. But एक case में उसके right side में जो rays हैं, वो radially inwards आ रहे हैं to that point. So the spherical wavefronts are also coming in. और उसके लेफ्ट साइड में जो बीम्स है वो रेडियली आउटवर्ड्स जा रहे हैं उससे. So the wavefronts are moving outwards. So if they had shown the direction of the wavefronts, then it would have taken that into account also. Right?
Yes.
The next is which one? This 21st.
Yes sir, 21st का A और B और 22 का C option.
Okay. So if one of the slits of a standard YDAC is covered by a thin parallel sided glass slab so that it transmits only half the intensity of the other, then fringe pattern किधर shift होता है? Okay, so fringe pattern shifts in which direction? Where the मतलब you can think of how the central maxima shifts ना. Now suppose तुमने S1 के सामने, S1 is the slit which is usually above and S2 is the slit which is below. तो अगर S1 के सामने तुमने स्लैब रखा है तो S1 से जो लाइट आ रहा है उसका पाथ लेंथ बढ़ जा रहा है.
हाँ.
तो कॉम्पनसेट करने के लिए सेंट्रल मैक्सिमा किधर शिफ्ट करेगा? ऊपर शिफ्ट करेगा.
हाँ.
फिर शिफ्ट्स टुवर्ड्स S1 ना टू कॉम्पनसेट.
अच्छा. हाँ, ठीक है.
Because your optical path length is increasing, so to compensate you have to increase the geometrical path length to get the central maxima.
Yes. ठीक है.
Geometrical path from S2 has to become larger and from S1 has to become lesser. It always shifts towards that slit where you're placing the slab.
Okay sir.
Okay. So understood ना AB कैसे select करेंगे?
हाँ sir.
Okay. Then 22 parallel beam lambda is given to us. Alpha is 30 degrees. Okay. So assume that the intensity due to each, so point O is equidistant from S1 and S2. Okay. इसमें कौन सा ऑप्शन आपने बताया? C.
Yes.
The intensity at a point on the screen 4 meters from O is how much? But 4 meter on which side, above or below? And small d is 1 millimeter. Okay. So 4 meters above or below is at an angular position of how much? 37? Sorry, 53?
Yes.
So for example, now what is happening? See, because the rays are coming at this angle of alpha, na, S1 is behind S2 in phase by how much? D sin alpha divided by lambda.
Yes.
मतलब पाथ डिफरेंस कितना है S1 और S2 के बीच? D sin alpha. So that is half a millimeter.
D sin alpha. हाँ.
ना मतलब just draw the wavefronts and you will understand.
Yes.
S1 से एक perpendicular wavefront बना दो, so that path difference you will see between the light coming to S1 and S2 the light coming to S2 is traveling an extra distance of how much? D sine alpha. Correct now?
Yes.
Whereas at a point on the screen, which is at 4 meters or whatever, the path difference is how much? Small d sine 53.
Yes.
So now depending on whether it is above or below, the two path differences will either add or subtract.
हाँ
O से ऊपर होगा तो add हो जाएंगे
हाँ 2
और O से नीचे हुआ तो दोनों subtract हो जाएंगे.
हाँ ओके ठीक है.
Okay. So in my opinion, the question should specify unless you are getting the same this thing for both of them. If you're getting constructive for both of them, then it's a different matter. Okay. Then both will give 4i. Or both are destructive, so both will give 0.
Okay.
Okay. Then next one. So this is that same type of question, ना बेटा? अच्छा ये तो किया ना हमने अभी?
इसमें 26 था सर.
अरे हाँ तो 26 में देखो क्या हो रहा है. You are having a point source which is somewhere towards the top left.
Yes.
Understood ना? It's like spherical wave fronts. तो उनको compress करते जाओ तो कोई एक point पे वो they will just converge into a point ना. So that is like a point source of light.
Yes.
ठीक है. तो suppose that is at the top left. उसका image कहाँ पे बनेगा? Top right पे?
हाँ.
Mirror के पीछे at the same distance.
हाँ.
तो वहां से अभी wave fronts draw करो. तो कैसे बाहर आ रहे होंगे? Like C.
अच्छा.
Understood ना? So all these wavefront questions are like this only.
Okay.
ठीक है. Understood ना बेटा?
Yes.
This is what Cengage or DC Pandey.
This is resonance का है.
अच्छा resonance का. Okay. Rank booster.
हाँ.
Okay. Okay. ठीक है. Then this one ना. Comprehension.
How is the rank booster to do it now?
अच्छा है. मतलब अभी तो you have lot of time for advance ना. मतलब some time.
मेंस का क्या मतलब होगा क्या अभी कि पोस्टपोन होगा?
नहीं मेंस होगा. लेकिन क्वेश्चन है कब होगा मतलब.
हाँ होगा तो होना ही पड़ेगा क्योंकि मतलब अगले साल तो नहीं शिफ्ट कर पाएंगे.
It has to be now. It will be. The question is it might be postponed quite a bit. Because in any case, you know what has happened in IIT, the semester has got completely delayed. But this year, na, for the existing students of IIT of all the years, they are not doing any real lectures, but only online lectures happening. So all that labs and all are not happening, I think, right up to Christmas.
हाँ वही आईआईटी बॉम्बे ने तो सारे लेक्चर्स ऑनलाइन कर दिए दिसंबर तक.
और सारे लेक्चर्स ऑनलाइन के मतलब जब भी वापस आएंगे उनको आके प्रैक्टिकल्स खत्म करना पड़ेगा बिकॉज वहाँ पे काफी क्रेडिट्स प्रैक्टिकल्स का भी होता है.
हाँ.
So you can't just have online classes and then I have exam and then finish off the semester. ऐसा नहीं कर सकते. Or they might shift the practicals to next year, but yeah, divide the practicals among the remaining semesters. So they'll have to take a decision. So they have postponed so much for the BTech only. So for intake of BTech also they can postpone if required. Okay. So what you do is I think you keep doing like I think something like 75% of your time you put into advanced का practice and 25% into mains का practice because see what is happening जो भी आप advanced के लिए पढ़ रहे हो ना वो mains में भी आपको उतना ही benefit दे रहा है.
हाँ.
मतलब आप difficult lengthy questions कर रहे हो तो उसका मतलब ये नहीं कि आप simple mains level questions करना भूल जाओगे.
हाँ.
But if you get out of practice with the advanced level questions, then it will take you a lot of time to come back to that.
Yes.
If you keep doing mains level questions, then you will forget some of the trickier concepts and all that you require for advanced level questions.
हाँ.
So that is where like all these kind of things like rank booster, previous year IIT papers, then your GMP of G or the subjective questions from Allen booklet or from IIT and Hub booklet, all these things will help a lot.
Yes.
Okay, now coming to this comprehension, which question you have a doubt in this?
So the 31, the second one of the complaint.
Okay, okay. हाँ. तो इसमें क्या है? The central bright fringe is shown over here, and these are various points which are shown. So, okay. Now, which fringe results from a phase difference of 4 pi between the light waves incidenting from the two slits? हाँ. तो phase difference of 4 pi मतलब fringe का order of magnitude कितना हो गया? 2. Second fringe हुआ है ना, because central maxima पे phase difference 0 होता है.
हाँ.
फर्स्ट मैक्सिमा पे फेज डिफरेंस 2 पाई होता है और सेकंड मैक्सिमा पे फेज डिफरेंस कितना होता है? 4 पाई होता है. So that is which one over here? The one labeled as 4,
4.
है ना? So that is your answer.
Okay, sir. ठीक है sir.
But understood.
Yes, sir.
So your doubts are clear, Darman?
Yes, sir.
Okay. ठीक है. I
Sir,
think
Mother wanted to talk to you. When can she talk?
can she call tomorrow evening some point of time?
All right, sir. I'll tell her.
Tomorrow, let's say after 5:30 anytime, I'll be free.
Okay.
Because today I have some lectures and meetings and all in the evening. So tomorrow I'll be a little bit more free. ठीक है ना
Okay,
बेटा?
sir. Okay, sir. I'll tell her. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. So Kritika, I'm coming to your question. Direction of friction in rolling of a spool. When will it be forward? When will it be backward? हाँ तो just a minute. Kritika, I'm unmuting you if you're there. Yeah, can you hear me, Kritika?
Yes.
Kritika, I'm not getting any audio from you.
Sir, now you can hear?
Yeah, now I can. So you can hear me ना बेटा?
Yes.
तो देखो क्या होता है, स्पूल का जो रोलिंग फ्रिक्शन का डायरेक्शन है ना, इट इज जस्ट लाइक द फ्रिक्शन. यू ऑलवेज थिंक दैट अगर फ्रिक्शन नहीं होता तो स्लिपिंग का डायरेक्शन क्या है, देन अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट.
So friction direction only slipping के केस में रहता है या फिर pure rolling?
So that's what in the case of pure rolling, friction prevents slipping ना.
Yes.
So अगर फ्रिक्शन नहीं होता, you can determine which direction it is slipping in. For example, if you take a standard diagram where you have a spool drawn in front of you on a surface, on a horizontal surface,
Yes.
you assume there is no friction first and find out what is the direction of rotation. If the direction of rotation is clockwise, okay, and the linear velocity is along the positive direction, then V minus R omega becomes the forward velocity of the point of contact.
Yes.
है ना? तो वो फॉरवर्ड वेलोसिटी अगर पॉजिटिव आ रहा है तो फ्रिक्शन नेगेटिव डायरेक्शन में एक्ट करेगा. अगर फॉरवर्ड वेलोसिटी नेगेटिव आ रहा है बिकॉज R omega is greater than V, then friction will be in the forward direction.
Okay. Sir, because to oppose that motion.
Yeah, it tends to oppose the slipping because it always tends to oppose the slipping. So that is one way of calculating. The other way is you just assume some direction of friction. Okay? Either take it forward, backward, assume the direction of friction and apply the condition for no slipping and solve the problem. Now, if you get friction with a positive sign, then your direction is same. If you get with the negative sign, the direction becomes reverse.
Okay.
That is the other method you can do. So कोई भी problem में कोई भी external forces, torque वगैरह कुछ भी दिया हुआ है, you just assume friction is in the forward direction and solve with the condition A is equal to R alpha. Now when you put that condition back in your friction equation, you will get the friction's value as either positive or negative. So that will tell you whether the direction is forward or backwards.
Okay.
Understanding
Sir,
better?
yes.
Yeah.
Sir, वो अभी जो 18 जुलाई को जो अभी होने ही वाला है, तो पोस्टपोन होने का सर कितना चांस है?
I think there is more than 50% chance that it will be postponed. Because from what I understand, the pandemic thing is peaking right now in July. And the problem with conducting the exam at national level is that they have to ensure public transport also. It is not just social distancing करके कर सकते हैं कि नहीं? People have to reach the exam centers also, no?
Yes.
The exam center will not be close to home for everybody. It's all India level exam, not just Mumbai, no?
Yes. Yes.
Plus it is an online exam, so it has to be a center which is reachable, which has like computer labs. So I don't know, the way I'm seeing it, it has to be postponed.
तो फिर अभी जो 18 days है तो उसमें मैं एडवांस तो कर लूँ बट मेंस में अभी कितना कंटेंट है
आप how regularly you are giving papers?
सर एक्चुअली मेरा प्लान था कि अभी वो जो केमिस्ट्री में जो ऑर्गेनिक पोर्शन था तो वो मैं बहुत पहले किया था तो उसको रिवाइज करना था तो मैं जस्ट एटलीस्ट 3 days में वो खत्म करने की कोशिश करूँ तो उसके बाद मेरे को बैक टू बैक पेपर्स ही करना है सर
So I think what you do is you start doing back-to-back papers, and like alternate day you do paper and alternate day you do your organic chemistry and whatever other revision you're doing. Okay? And when you're doing papers, always do one advanced and one mains. ठीक है, तो आप जो भी रिवीजन कर रहे हो ना, जो भी थ्योरी रिवीजन कर रहे हो या प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चंस कर रहे हो, वो आप एडवांस लेवल पे करो. Because that study will support both mains and advanced.
Okay.
But whatever paper practice you're doing, na, there you have to practice both the things, because mains you have to be fast and advanced you have to be more accurate.
Yes. Yes.
So उसको आप दोनों equal करो. मतलब if you are giving 6 hours of papers on a day ना,
Yes.
so 3 hours mains, 3 hours advanced, वैसा करवा. Best team.
Okay.
Whereas जैसे आप ऑर्गेनिक पढ़ रहे हो या सपोज ऑप्टिक्स पढ़ रहे हो या मैकेनिक्स कर रहे हो, जो भी कर रहे हो, वो you do the study at the advanced level.
Okay.
And of course there are some chapters which are only mains, so that you do mains only.
Yes.
Like semiconductors and all that you do only that part. But
Yes. Thank you.
ठीक है बेटा?
Okay.
Okay बेटा. Then if there are any other doubts, just send me later. Okay बेटा?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.